Hi, everyone. This is Andy Smith. We are from Stress-Free Income community, and I head up the crypto division of it. Today, it's my pleasure to welcome Wesley Jefter and David Fenter, the founders and managing executives of Stress-Free Income. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us, Andy. Really great to be here. Thank you.
Hey, Andy. Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I think let's start off by just telling the viewers about yourselves. I think let's start with you, Wes.
Okay, thanks, Andy. So my name is Wesley Jefter. I've been working in corporate since 2006. I spent about half of my career in management consulting and supply chain consulting. More recently, in 2016, I immigrated from South Africa to Australia after the birth of my first son. And since being in Australia, I've really felt the need to branch out and kind of take my career beyond the corporate. And I'm just very excited about this next chapter that we're about to enter as a family and as a community, just to kind of get our own business up and running, and to obviously participate in the exciting new world of cryptocurrency and online digital investing.
Okay, great. David, let's hear from you.
So my name is David Fenter. I'm born and bred in South Africa. I've been in sales, advertising, marketing, and entrepreneurship pretty much all my life, but started different fields, different markets. So as a serial entrepreneur, I don't think there's many fields I can't say that I haven't looked at, dealt, or even started. But always in the background has been, this financial cryptocurrency on the side, thinking it's important, but always something else comes up. But yeah, it's pretty much single, not married, no kids. I like it that way, and that gives me the freedom to do what I want to do when I want to do it, which is nothing wrong with it. But just I enjoy where I am at the moment, and that's how I'm still in South Africa. I'm in sunny Durban on the East Coast, and yeah, it's me in a small nutshell.
Okay, great. Yeah, it seems crypto's the future. I personally, I come from a very different background. I've been in civil engineering in the construction sector for many years, and the lovely COVID situation pushed me into this direction, and I've never looked back. It's been great. I took the plunge and decided to try my hand at Bitcoin trading. It's relatively hard, but there's success there. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. Okay, so Wes, tell me more about Stress-Free Income. What's your mission? What's your vision for the company?
Okay, so look, our mission simply is we want to help ordinary people access extraordinary wealth. Just to kind of break that mission statement down into the parts. Who do you want to work with? I think David will get into that a bit later on in the interview around who our potential customers and target market is. But essentially, we want to deal with everyday people, right? There's a perception that if you need to be a astute, savvy investor, that you need to be extremely wealthy, very educated, very connected. That's simply not true. So I think that a lot of what we're doing is just reprogramming the way people's minds think when it comes towards prosperity and money. And also the other component about it is extraordinary wealth. Whether or not people know it, there's a silent revolution happening in the world of finance and in the monetary system. And it's very exciting to be at this point now, because we're literally standing with buckets and shovels in front of the Klondike, and the gold rush has just begun. So it's just really a good time to position yourself for the future, because there is going to be a big transfer of wealth. And the way that people measure wealth in the future is going to be totally different once we've actually gone through this revolution that we're going through at the moment. Just regarding the vision, I think if you've watched a few of our videos, we always end the videos by saying that it's our vision to become a trusted authority in the online wealth creation space. And develop a dedicated and passionate and highly engaged investment savvy subscriber base. So that's what Stress-Free Income is, all about the people, all about our community, and whether or not you're able to participate or at a point in your life now where you can even participate in some of the programs and opportunities we're talking about. It doesn't matter. We just want people to be involved and to join us on this journey of learning and this exciting time that we're in at the moment.
Yeah, the analogy of sitting in front of the Klondike with a spade and a bucket, that's exactly where we are now. I've got many friends that tell me, Bitcoin, it's too late, look at the price. But you know what, like you say, there's a secret financial revolution going around, and while starting, and this is the point. We actually are right at the beginning, and it's great that we've got these companies that are emerging that can actually help people and open people's eyes. So David,
a comment from my side is exactly what you said about Bitcoin is too late. The horses are really bolted. It's quite strange that you said that. I mean, I literally have this conversation with somebody at least once or twice a day. It's never too late. I think that the biggest regrets that I've had personally about my financial situation is about not taking action sooner. Overanalyzing a situation. In 2016, I had a gift that was given to me. Before the big boom in 2017, I had an opportunity to get in, and I had the means to get in. Now that I just didn't act on it. So this time around, I'm definitely going to be a lot wiser. For the experience of having gone through the boom and the bust of the first kind of major bull market within cryptocurrency. But this time around, I think we're definitely wiser and more prepared for what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's so true. So David, I just want to come to you. Can you tell me how stress-free income started?
Yeah, it's a funny story. It actually leads off everything we've just been saying now. When all this COVID happened back in March, April, May, is when everybody got to the point where they say, well, we can't go and do work. We can't, all the businesses that I had in mind that I was looking at doing were kind of hindered by, hey, we can't go out, we can't do anything, so everything had to go online. And the crypto thing was always there. And one of the platforms came across my path, and that kind of got me engaged in researching it. And when I do something, I kind of like, I get obsessed about it. So like, we're going to crypto. Okay, let's read and see everything I can find out about it. Because like Wes was saying, is that we want to educate people. And it's exactly what I recommend to everybody. Is a lot of people saying, well, where am I going to earn money? And it's actually not that. I think, please just find out what's happening in the world, because the blinkers are on for everybody. And what we're trying to do as Stress-Free Income is to open that. So I was in a platform there where I was testing out and put a couple $100 in and just playing around with it. And on the community for that platform, I bumped into Wes, and we started chatting, and what platforms are you in, and that kind of thing. And there was a synergy in how we were thinking, and our mindsets were the same. And that's essentially where Wes and I met. And we sort of got together, not saying, hey, let's start a business together. It's more of the same thing we're actually designing stress-free income around is there's power in numbers. There's power in the shared knowledge of many people. And that's the idea behind it, is that, Wes and I have the same way of thinking, but different strengths. So we got to a point where we're realizing that, hey, if we group together a whole bunch of guys, we can feed all that knowledge into one pool. And we can all benefit from it. So we can say, this is junk because of this, or this one's great. And then we can throw all this knowledge together to get this. And that's how stress-free income came about. The two of us realizing that there's strength in numbers, and getting like-minded people together. So both being scammed on one site actually brought us together. And we were talking about this just now the other day. It's actually funny. It's like, I actually thank God that happened, because if not, we would never have met. We wouldn't have started this, and we wouldn't be where we are now. And we're doing exceptionally well because of all the research and due diligence and people we've met that we've got to. And stress-free income is where it is right now, which is, I'm going to be honest with you, has flabbergasted my mind. It has really blown us where we've come to in the last 6 months. And in the next 6 months, we're probably going to look back and go, oh my goodness, look at where we are. And that's essentially where we where we are, and I'm quite excited about it.
Just a comment from my side, this is what I love about this industry. The people in this industry are so resilient. You throw a pandemic at us, and then we'll come back with an enterprise, right? You throw a scam, you throw a scam at us, you throw us into a scam, and we'll come out as you know, as partners. You know, so this is the great thing about this community. It's there's so many opportunities. There's always opportunity, no matter what happens. If the market goes up, we make money. If the market goes down, we make money. If there's other companies that are scamming out, we still make money, right? So there's always an opportunity, and there's always a way to turn something negative, even like what's happening in the wider world with the pandemic. You know, this has forced people to sit back and, you know, really be introspective about their financial planning and their financial situation. And out of these kind of situations come great ideas. So that's one thing I really enjoy about working in this industry is the positivity of the community and the people.
Mm.
Yeah, that's awesome. The opportunities right now are endless. Yeah, so guys, I just want to find out more about the kind of culture you want to develop for stress-free income. You know, if you can tell me more about your personal values and how you intend to bring that into the company. Let's start with you, Wes.
Yeah, obviously, look, you know, the one level that David and I communicated and connected on were we both Bible-believing Christians. And, you know, my priorities are first to God, my family, and then my business. And none of those three levels are ever actually at odds with one another, right? Because becoming a dad becoming a father, you know, to two boys has actually made me very careful about my own conduct, my own behavior, my own ethic. So if I do right by, you know, by God first, I'm going to be doing right by my business first. And if I do right by my business, I'm going to be a good role model to my kids. So I really just want to build something that's, you know, like my children will be proud of, something that's going to become a legacy business. And yeah, and hopefully that kind of a sense of community and family is also what I really want to, you know, to have as an undercurrent in our business. And I want that to come across clearly in how we conduct our business, as openly and as transparently and as with the highest degrees of integrity and honesty as well. And also with a deep desire to actually want to help people and uplift people.
100%.
Yeah,
I must
awesome.
agree with Wes 100%. You know, those ethics and morals that come along with our belief has, and I'm sure you can actually see in the group, Andy, is that you know, in our Telegram group and things like that's come through. That our dream is to help people, but there's no you know, the belief in the world is that if you get people involved, you have to take something from them. And we believe that's not true. You know, there's no, you give me your money and I give you something. That I don't think it's possible. I think we can help people at the same time build a business. And that's what it's eventually merged to. Essentially, it's merged from just two guys wanting to pull our knowledge together to grow into a business. But I'll speak a little bit on that later. But essentially, the values that we have, we found have worked for us. And we're going to stand strong on those. Because there's nothing else for us. We'd rather get rid of everything else than to sacrifice those values. And you know, I think that for Wes and I, it was like a God opportunity that we met, and we keep going back to that, to realizing that what it was. And I'm going to proudly say who and what we are as Christians, but you know, we don't turn anybody away. That's not, because the idea is to help all mankind and all people that want to do this, and all people that want to get out of I'm going to call under the thumb of the, I'm going to say, financial institutions and things like that are really there to make money out of them. They're not there to actually uplift the community and uplift you know, humankind. So yeah, that's I would say I'd agree with Wes.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, it's great to see or hear of more and more companies in the crypto space that are trying to run a proper business, because all three of us know very well that cryptocurrency has a lot of people that just want to get rich quick. They want to scam people. They don't care about anything. They just want to take your Bitcoin, and it's just great to see, you know. So yeah, Dave, staying with you, what are your goals for the next 6 to 12 months?
For stress-free income, my goals are tied to the company. I've 100% vested. This is what we do full time. There's no other side hustles or anything like that. Maybe a little bit. I mean, obviously, Wes has a family to look after, and so he does have some business. But for me, this is 100% me. So I am totally 100% sold into stress-free income and getting this business off the ground. So when I talk about the business goals, I'm talking about my goals. So my goals in regards to this and the business goals is to grow this into something transparent, real, and that, like we spoke about our ethics, that it helps people get going, but also be a global force. It really, I think sometimes we think a little too small in our way of thinking and what it can be, but this can actually grow to, the key to all of this is diversification. And because we as there are, like where it says, some companies don't plan to scam out some of the platforms that we're on, or investments, or even traders that we work with, where there's so many different dreams and things that we're looking at doing. They don't plan to do it, but sometimes situations, the companies they're related to, the governments they're in, or whatever the case may be, actually may cause that company to fail. And when you put all your eggs in one basket, it can cripple and even devastate lives. And we want to make sure that that doesn't happen, because there's so many people going into this foray of crypto investing, but blinded. And they get into that thing of, no, this platform is the only platform you should be in. And because we're the best and we're the most legit. And I don't believe that's the case. I think there's lots of people who are trying to actually start a real legitimate business. And our job is to find those, do our due diligence on them and test them. And to grow that into our own simple, easy to use, legitimate, transparent company that can invest in all of these different platforms, investments, and to diversify over the next 6 to 12 into as many of these as possible, to try and keep those funds as safe as possible. And that's my dream, is to grow this company to something real.
Sorry, David, just without letting the cat out of the bag, do you maybe want to just bring it down to a bit of a practical level, and maybe just share some very high level details around the exciting work that we're doing around creating the digital hedge fund that you're so passionate about?
Yes, absolutely. So in the next 6 to 12, if we get through our work, we get this digital hedge fund going, and that's what I'm calling it. And then, so these are the kind of terminologies I'm coining at the moment. Digital hedge fund. It must look, feel, and act like a respectable financial institution, but totally digital, and as well as so it's independent of the kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, is that they kind of control. Every government or every country has its own
establishment, institutional.
Correct, like FSCA and the SEC and all these, because the idea is we have come to realize that a lot of these institutions aren't really there to help the man on the street in the end of the day. They say they are, and they release things like that, but they're not really there. So we want to try and help people. So the long-term vision is to eventually get off the platforms, because we are relying on other human beings and other platforms to do that, but eventually have more control over our own personal funds and other, the hedge funds over long term. So we're looking at starting off with platforms, then trading, whether it's crypto, forex, metals, whatever the case may be, and then moving on to even more long-term stable ones like property investment, venture capital funds, some other businesses that have got real assets that have weight behind them, so that that we've got some sort of grounding. And that's going to be the multi-billion-dollar vision long-term. And I just spoke about not thinking small earlier. That's the long-term vision that we have, is this multifaceted investment platform that people can know, see, and trust, and actually not, we're going to be as available as we possibly can. And I know when this gets massive, it's going to be very difficult to do that, but as much as we humanly can, without giving away a lot of the IP that we are developing in the process, we still want to be that transparent company. People can ask us questions. We will hold AMAs all the time, and hopefully, grow this into something fantastic that people can see, feel, and trust.
Thanks.
Wes, also, so same question for you. What's your plan for the next 6 to 12 months with stress-free income?
Yeah, I think David's really kind of touched on everything that we're planning to do. But just to kind of add on to the last part of what he had said now is that ultimately we want to present this business in a unified, ubiquitous kind of fashion to our customers. So it'll be presented as one platform, which provides our customers or our clientele with a turnkey solution. So they don't need to go and invest in all these complicated different little platforms. We're going to pull everything together, and we're going to present this diversified portfolio of opportunities across many different industries as one unified investment platform. So from an IT and a solutions and a systems point of view, we've definitely got our work cut out for us. But the vision, the plan that we've got in our minds, it's very exciting. And ultimately, it's definitely going to be a very, very big point of difference in the market. And what we're really trying to do is, our niche is, we try to play in the space of, we're in the crypto and digital currency, digital asset world, but we also want to apply the same level of rigor and governance that you would expect in institutional finance.
100%.
No, that sounds awesome. Sounds like there's big things on the way, which is fantastic. Staying with you, Wes, just want to find out, who's your target market? Who's the typical investor you're looking for? Who's the kind of people you're looking to work with?
I'm going to hand that question over to David. When it comes to spreadsheets and strategies and systems, I'm great. When it comes to people and sales and relationships, I'm going to give it to there's nobody that I know that does it better than David. So David, I'll give this one to you, please.
Sure, no problem. So, the nice thing is, if we had to do this designed at the multimillionaires and all that, it would probably, work and carry on. But that's not our dream. Our dream is to help the man on the street. In order to do that, we have to make it affordable. Obviously, there'd be some, small minimums that in order to join us. At the moment, that's not the case because of how we're managing it. But the minute we have our systems in place, it's now going to be available for the man on the street to be able to put in as little as $100, to start and join the platform that's going to diversify their funds and give them that kind of thing. So I think I've said this before. I want this as available to as many human beings around the world as possible. We're not going to obviously turn away. So there won't be a maximum if guys want to put in large quantities, because the returns are going to be better than institutions are giving you. But I want the man on the street to get the exact same returns as the guy who has $100 million. So the dream is to uplift everybody across the board. There's no, we're not going to discern who's not going to and who's going to get. And what I find that a lot of also these platforms do is that if you've got a lot of money, you can make more money out of it. And if you've got very little, then you grow it slower. And I sometimes don't, as much as there are reasons they do that, and I understand why they do that, but in some ways I don't like that, because it excludes the average Joe who's trying to get out of, the hole that they're in usually, and in this COVID times, a lot of people are in that hole, and we want to help those people do that, get out of that and get sustainable income. So I don't think there's I could point to target market, but we also want to make it simple, because a lot of people coming into the foray of crypto don't know. I had a conversation this morning with someone and he's like, what is Bitcoin? Right. So, our platform also intends to educate people on what's in a very polite way, what's happening in the world, why we should start looking at digital currencies, and they're here to stay. And the proof behind that. So on top of actually just doing the investment platform, invest or don't invest, it's up to you. We want to try and teach them, saying, listen, there are other things, because the society and parents and grandparents and all say, and even friends, I've heard them saying, I want to invest in Bitcoin, but my auntie said no, she lost a lot of money in 2017, so it's all a scam. Sure, you can trust your auntie who tried something once, lost. Or you can go and trust the people that we actually go and research, and the guys who are massively invested, and not just financially, but also in education, in why Bitcoin, digital currencies are so important in the world going forward. Everybody's going to, I think we're on the coming up of the curve now. This is where we are now. But in 5 years' time, digital currencies, and whether it's digital dollars, rands, whatever the case may be, euros, are going to be mainstream. And then you're going to say, I wish we had actually gotten to Bitcoin 5 years ago. So when is the best time to get into Bitcoin? Right now. But we've just had a spike. right now is the best time to get into Bitcoin, is to get into any, well, cryptocurrencies. But as Wesley says, Bitcoin is the granddaddy, and it's going to be here to stay. So until Jesus comes, or there's nuclear holocaust or something like that, as long as there's internet and electricity in the world, digital currencies will always be. And that's what we're trying to do as well, to educate people in that. Sorry, I'm answering a question you didn't ask, but I felt it needed to be out there.
So just to pull that all together, I think, David, I mean, you've articulated our mission statement quite well. It's helping ordinary people access extraordinary wealth. So this is about accessing to that wealth, and obviously not excluding anybody, and making sure everybody's included. So, like, in a nutshell, everybody's welcome.
Great.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's nice summing that up, Wes. But I think that's the beauty of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, because it's decentralized, because it's anonymous. Anyone can get hold of it and use it and touch it, which is I think it's the core of this whole industry. But actually, taking that further, David, why Bitcoin specifically? Why not Ethereum or any other crypto? Why are we sticking with Bitcoin?
So I touched on that a little bit about in the last comments that I made, and I agree, because number one, it is the granddaddy. It was the first one that came out. It set the precedent. It launched the world, and it's going to be here for a long term. And I don't personally think it's going to be our everyday trading currency. There are other currencies for that are going to be able, you can buy a cup of coffee for. At the moment, if you want to buy a cup of coffee with a Bitcoin, it's going to cost you more than what you pay for the coffee, just for the transaction fees. But the nice thing about Bitcoin is when you're doing investing, Bitcoin is the granddaddy to do that. So when you're moving, whether you're moving $10 or $100 million, it costs the same amount of money when you're moving Bitcoin. So that's the fantastic part of it. But it's always going to be that backbone of it. And the value of every other cryptocurrency is very erratic. I mean, eventually cryptocurrencies are going to get as stable as fiat currencies. They will get there. I 100% believe that. At the moment, they're very volatile, but I would say that we want to grow people's Bitcoin. And the reason we want to grow people's Bitcoin, because so we can turn 1 into 2 into 4 into and so on. But because of Bitcoin still, and everybody, the pundits actually believe, and we believe, Bitcoin still has so much growth ahead of it. The potential that it has, as more and more institutions, and we're talking mega institutions all over the world, are taking Bitcoin seriously, we believe that the price of Bitcoin, because there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin ever in the world. You cannot manufacture more, even if they wanted to. It'll never happen, because there's a limited supply, and we know supply and demand means that when there's a limited supply, the price is going to go up. And the more people that are getting involved in it, and we're talking major institutions, never mind little investors like you and I, when they get involved, the price gets a little more, we believe that the price is going to go up. So everyone around the world, it'll be great to have your money appreciate in 2 different avenues. 1, growing it on our platform, but 2, growing the value of it as well into your fiat currency, whatever it may be. We believe that's got the most potential across any cryptocurrency. We do believe the other cryptocurrencies will grow. Absolutely. Ethereum has got huge potential because all the other cryptocurrencies, or a lot of the other cryptocurrencies, are tied to it or based on that, let's call it backbone. But Bitcoin's always going to be the granddaddy. And we believe because of its limited supply, it's always going to be the highest growth ratio that we can hope for. So we very strongly believe, and I think Wesley might be able to articulate that a little bit better, but I'm many words.
I mean, look, just one other thing. I mean, like Andy, when you kind of said why Bitcoin, for me, where my mind shifted to is why Bitcoin versus, instead of like fiat or regular kind of stocks. And the answer for that is very simple. The monetary system it's antiquated. It's an antiquated system. It's a fundamentally corrupt system. There's no way for macroeconomists who are very, very clever, to try and actually measure, what the rate of inflation is. They always state in South Africa the rate of inflation is between 4.5 and 6%. However, when you start working in industry, when you start looking at the price pressure in the manufacturing sector, you're seeing that is sometimes, between 8 and 10%. So the true value of inflation is, in my opinion, is much higher than the 4.5 to 6% that we're being told about. So if you look at, the typical kind of unit trusts or RAs or pensions, what they do on a yearly basis, the type of return that they give you on a yearly basis. Once you actually net off the true inflation, right, of that, your money over the period of your life, over the period of your career, is actually decaying. It's actually eroding. So that is why my opinion is that the fiat monetary system, it's an antiquated system, it's a fundamentally corrupt system, and I think Bitcoin, being a true decentralized, peer-to-peer, cashless, unit of exchange and store of value, is going to change the way that the world is working, and that's why we do what we do. That's why I actually believe in the fundamentals of cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin at this point in time.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, Wes, what's your outlook on the digital asset and cryptocurrency industries at the moment?
So a lot of people talk about Bitcoin maximalists. I'm definitely not a Bitcoin maximalist. It's not like I've got a dim and grim outlook on Bitcoin itself, but if there was ever something such as an Ethereum maximalist, I'd probably be more of an Ethereum maximalist. And I really honestly believe in the technology behind the Ethereum blockchain. What happened this year with DeFi, DeFi was extremely, it was just absolutely wild and crazy what was happening in the DeFi space this year. And that's pretty much what was happening in the ICO space. That was the narrative in 2017. And there was a lot of scammy ICO projects that popped up in 2017. And in a similar kind of way, there was a lot of scammy and crazy DeFi projects that popped up this year. But that's actually what happens at the very beginning. Even if you go back to like the gold rush, the moment that all of these miners came to the Klondike, and all of the bandits and all of the other people that were trying to actually rob and make money out of this new gold rush, they also came there as well. So I think that's kind of like the phase where we're at now with this whole DeFi narrative. And I think next year, there's going to be a lot more, for lack of a better term, regulation, in a lot more kind of sanity in the DeFi space. So I'm expecting the second wave of DeFi to look a little bit more sober and temperate as compared to what we saw this year. Because what we saw this year was just crazy. There was, in the space of like 4 months, after, I think it was after May or June, there was something like $15 billion US that were like locked up and staked away in DeFi projects. It was just absolutely insane. We've never ever seen something like that. I mean, people were getting ridiculous returns on some of the DeFi projects, but there were also a lot of people that got scammed and got wrecked as well. So next year, I think that there's going to be a little bit of a cleansing, a little bit of a reckoning in the DeFi space. And I'm just expecting that, I think people like Ivan on Tech, Ivan from Ivan on Tech, he's been talking about it for ages, how undervalued Ethereum is. Ethereum is really, really undervalued. If you look at the all-time high from the previous run was about 1,500. So we're kind of sitting about 30% of where we were at the all-time high. Bitcoin is, at the moment, is currently about 80, 85, 90% of the all-time high. So I think there's a lot more talk. And I think, Ethereum, might, for lack of a better way of explaining it, be a little bit underbought at this point in time. So I'm expecting, what's actually going to precipitate this explosion in the ERC20 and DeFi space. I think the spark that's going to ignite that is the commencement of the ETH 2.0 network. I know that we've been talking about this for years. I think everybody that's in crypto is like, it's like, this is like the cry wolf thing. It's like people are talking about, the famous coming of ETH 2.0, but I think we're kind of at the very, very end of the test cycle now, and it's looking really promising. And I think they're kind of going to pre-launch. So I believe that when that happens, it's going to just be the catalyst that's really going to make everything explode in the ETH space. And I think that's going to be a great thing for the industry because, as David alluded to earlier on, all of the other altcoins, most of the other altcoins are running as ERC20 tokens on the Ethereum blockchain. And I think the days of having private blockchains That's kind of more of an outdated way of doing cryptocurrency these days. And most of those big projects on the private blockchains from 2017 that are still around, they're considered to be ghost chains. So I'm not expecting a lot of traction in that space, but I am definitely excited around the opportunities and potential that smart contracts and ERC20 tokens can offer, because there's a whole stream of monetary instruments and policies that can actually be made possible through smart contracts. I was watching a video quite recently. One of the trusted authorities, within the cryptocurrency space, his name escapes me now, but he said for him the big thing was when you realize that the financial system is just one massive smart contract, then when that penny drops, you will understand exactly where this industry is going and the power of the Ethereum blockchain.
Yeah, I can't wait to get my insurance through a smart contract one day. Yes, I don't want to deal with call centers anymore. Dave, now when it comes to investment and personal financial management, what's the biggest mistake you see people do these days?
I'm going to touch on it, and I'm sure Wes will have some other different sides, and that's what is great about us having, slightly different sort of perspectives. But I think the main thing is, well, two things. One is that people they just don't actually think about saving or investing. The rich dads and the Warren Buffetts of the world and all those Robert Kiyosaki's and those, they're always saying you've got to invest first and you can live off the rest. Otherwise, you're essentially always never going to have anything to invest or save. So that's the first problem that I think people have. And the second thing is when they do, they don't diversify. They keep all the eggs in one basket. So when it fails, and I've seen this with my parents, I've seen this with friends where they're saying, oh, I found a fantastic investment that's given me a great return. It's a legitimate, firm. And, because it's based on the current system, whether it's in the stock market or whatever they invest, that company can fail because there's human beings behind it and we all are fallible. So diversification just makes, firstly, starting to save and invest is the first biggest hurdle that a lot of people do. And I, for many, many, many years of my life, I've never done that. Only now in the latter part, as we get wiser and older and uglier, we kind of, realize this is something we should have started years and years and years ago. So when I get a 19, 20 something year old actually asking me saying, hey, what should I be doing now to help me going? I get super excited. I'm like blown away that this young guy who gets raised in a way to just say, listen, spend your money, live life to its fullest. Actually asking the intelligent questions and saying, what should I be doing? That excites me a lot because I wish somebody had taken me when I was younger and said, listen, just put a little bit away, just something silly and grow it, because the power of compound interest is Einstein said it is the eighth wonder of the world, and it really is. We've seen that, and it is. This year is all due to compound interest and what we've done. So, the one is start saving and investing, even if it's something small. And I'm sure people have heard this 1,000 times over. But if the younger you are, the better, because that means you can retire earlier. And second, diversify, please. Those are the two things I would say are the two mistakes that we make early in life. And actually, I've seen people late in life still make the same mistakes.
Yeah, just let me just weigh in that. I think just like two things that have sprung to mind. I mean, David, what you said about how excited that you get when younger people actually start taking their financial future seriously. One thing that my dad always told me when I was in my 30s, he always said, listen, what you do in the next 10 years, how you spend the next 10 years is going to determine how you're going to be spending the next 60 years of your life. So that is why there is an importance of this moment. There's an importance of the present, just to act responsibly and do what you need to do so that you can set yourself and your family up for a good life. And another thing I wanted to mention is, I see this again, a lot of people think that, that poverty is related to the amount of money in your bank. It's got nothing to do with the amount of money that's in your bank. It's what's in here. Poverty is actually a state of mind. A lot of the times you can actually find extremely rich people that have an impoverished way of thinking. And there's that saying is that a fool and his money are soon parted, right? If you take away Bill Gates, if you take away all of his money, I guarantee you that this time next year you'll probably have more than what he's got now, and that's because of the way that his mind actually thinks, the way that his mind operates. And I think David is very much big on this about getting this thing sorted out.
Yeah. Very, very much so. So, I mean, touching on that, this year was a big mindset change for me, and that's what's changed my life. Exactly that, is that what you think you become, and it is so evident in my life. And I'm talking to, I mean, just yesterday I was doing someone that's actually investing with us with stress-free income. She's going through a tough time, and I said, we bring a lot of the stuff into our lives by what we think. And I think all the books, and I recommend, if you're not reading, please read. Even if you don't read, get an audiobook, but read and grow this muscle, because this muscle is going to change your life. Not the amount of money, not a platform. You can put in all our platforms, but the point is, if you don't know how to manage your money and change the way you're thinking and what's important in your life, you will always be, like Wesley says, have a poverty mindset. A poverty mindset and a wealthy mindset are two different things, and that's what's going to change your life and even bring you joy and happiness and that kind of thing, because you start realizing what's important. So I say, please, what you think you become, and you think about who you spend your time with is also another big thing. It's obviously not going to be in our platform, but my personal belief is who you spend your time with, who you want to spend your time with, changes how you think. So there was someone, I can't remember who it was, he says, you show me your 5 friends and I'll show you your future. And that's essentially what we need to do. Yeah. John Maxwell. Yeah. John Maxwell. You show me your 5 friends and I'll show you your future, because you are an accumulation of who you spend your time with. Yeah. And so change who you spend your time with if you want to be a better person and grow as a human being. You'll recognize it. You'll know who's not good for you and who's not, who is. And then obviously the second thing is the reading of books. By reading a book, you're essentially spending time with that person, understanding how they think. And that's the same thing. So reading books, watching YouTube videos, there's enormous, and not the hype guys, not the guys who are, let's go buy a Lamborghini and you can do this and because you make money. No, I mean, the guys are like Bill Gates. I mean, as much as there's so many conspiracy theories and all that kind of stuff about it, but if you just take the common sense knowledge that you get from, intelligent and wealthy people, take that, take what you want, leave the rest, whatever. But there's so many people that I don't agree with politically or even religiously, but they've got common sense and you can learn from them, and just opening your mind to those possibilities. If you're going to be closed-minded, then you're going to be cutting yourself short on huge learning opportunities.
Yeah, one other comment I want to make is that also a big mistake that I see people making is thinking that there's enough time, thinking that you have enough time to make enough money. So yeah. I've been exchanging time for money for the last 15 years. And let me tell you that it sucks. Because working for money is the worst master. It's the worst boss that you could ever work for. Because there's no bottom of that pit. You can throw yourself emotionally into it. And a lot of people do. They do it at the expense of their personal health. They do it at the expense of their mental health. They do it at the expense of their family and marriage. And that whole of being a slave to money and having money as your master, it's a bottomless pit, and it will consume everything. So there's two things that you can do. You can either exchange your time for money, and there's not enough time. If you ever have the experience of seeing somebody pass away from a terminal disease, there's no amount of money in the world that can actually replace an extra 5 minutes that you might have at the end of your life with your family and your loved ones. So exchanging time for money is not a good long-term strategy. You need to put strategies in place right now in order to make your money work for you. That is basically the difference between rich people and poor people. Poor people see money as a means to an end, and rich people see money as a tool to create a better life for themselves.
Freedom, yeah, absolutely. And that's the one thing that I think I harp on a lot, is that money is just a tool to give you freedom. And the freedom is what you want, so you can spend more time doing what you want with your family and your health and things like that. It's absolutely essential that you change your mindset on that.
Oh, you guys are talking a lot of good sense. There's something else I also want to add. What I've found a lot of people make mistakes with is the concept of getting rich quick. That is the scammers' bread and butter. They want to convince you that you can become rich in a stupidly short amount of time, and people get suckered into that. And that's kind of like a life lesson that I've learned. Anything worthwhile doing is difficult, takes time. You need to be consistent. You've got to be dedicated, and eventually the results come. And it's just we're living in an instant coffee kind of society where people always want something now. TV, movies, everything teaches us, you must get it now. You must, if you aren't achieving it tomorrow, something's wrong. And actually, it's what we're seeing now. We talk about the crypto space having amazing returns with regards to comparing it to the legacy financial system, where banks are offering you a 7% return per annum, and we're talking closer to that or more per month, and people are like, it's a whole other discussion. We're like, oh, that sounds too much. But in reality, when we're growing wealth, we're not looking at months, we're looking at years here. It's that's one of the mindsets many people just can't comprehend. It takes years to build wealth, and then once it's built, then we have the rest of our lives to enjoy it.
Yeah. Look, I think that's a good point, Andy. David can testify to this. Every single week, we hear of at least 10 to 15 platforms and opportunities. 99% of these things are scams, right? And if you've been plugged into the Telegram community for stress-free income, you'll know that we don't really have a lot of projects on the go, but the projects that we do have on the go, we've done a deep level of due diligence on them. And I would probably consider us to be a bit more sober and temperate when it comes to investments and opportunities, and making sure that we're backing the winners. And again, like you said, it's not really about having this mentality of getting involved in get rich quick schemes. That's not really our game. We don't promote hypes, and we certainly are a lot more thoughtful and intentional around the opportunities that we move forward on. That's the kind of culture and the vibe that we're trying to bring across in our business.
Exactly. And it's strange, I had people that are on one side of the spectrum which are saying, the 7% per month is just too good to be true. And then I got people on the other side of the spectrum that are saying, well, I'm getting return on investment in 4 days and 7% is too little. And it's like, guys, seriously, there's this mindset and then there's this mindset. And we trying our best to say, look, we do believe that there is this great long-term growth. You can start with very little in retrospect of everything, and actually grow it into fantastic wealth over a period of years, not weeks. There's no such thing as get rich quick, although it depends what you call quick. But we believe over a period of years, if you invest wisely, if you do your due diligence, sacrifice time that you have for something more important. Because a lot of things, we're not willing to give up the Netflix time. We're not willing to give up the, whatever time it is in the beginning to actually say, I want to educate myself on cryptocurrencies, on investment, on the world's financial system. If you actually open your eyes and see and look deeper behind the facade that is the world's financial system, you'll be shocked. You'll be blown away, and you'll be, in some instances, depressed that we just haven't seen it. We just closed our eyes to it. So we try and educate people, not just in saying where to go, what to do, and how to do it, but also from a point of view of saying, just educate yourself a little bit, sacrifice a bit of time, and look into, what's actually happening in the world. And you'll realize how much sense it makes to actually look at this foray.
Okay, great. Guys, one final question for both of you, and Dave, I'll stick with you. Why should people join the stress-free company and the community?
Look, we don't insist that anybody joins the company, but we do insist that people join the community because there are power in numbers, and we're not an institution from a point of view of saying we're trying to drive you to that. We want people to connect. Andy, you're into trading and that kind of thing, and I know like-minded guys in the group that I've actually said, chat to Andy. I think the two of you would have a bit of a personal growth in regards to saying, this is my strategy, what's yours, and you can learn from each other. And that's how stress-free income has actually been born. So if you want to, you just hang around people that are not negative, because we're not going to tolerate that. Anybody who comes in with negativity or anything like that, we're going to get rid of, because we don't want that. We believe it'll poison the mindset. And it's not from a point of view of saying what's not real. We'll tell you the truth, whether it's a bad news or good news, but we don't want that negativity in it. And the idea is to say, let's get a whole community together, a like-minded community that can bring value to the table. As soon as somebody says A, B, and C, and then, there's other perspectives, and it all started like this. So if it's firstly, you want to join a like-minded community that you can help grow you as a human being, great. The second thing, if you want to join the company, which will be, probably renamed or into something when it becomes the digital hedge fund, but the community will still always exist, right? So then we'll say, look, we have this to help you. If you want to join the company, that's what it's about. So if you want to have all these years that we've got experience, Wesley being a qualified business analyst and all the other people that we've got actually bringing value to it, it's stuff that, an island alone is just, it's not going to work. So I think that just the power in numbers, the power in community, is definitely worth getting involved with. And if you want to get involved financially and you want to invest in us, we're available to answer any questions you have, and we'll help you. And that's the heart of what we do. I think Wes can tell you a little bit more, but let's see.
Yeah, look, I think that you've covered everything there we needed to cover. Just one thing I wanted to, while you were talking, I was just kind of thinking, reflecting on my own personal growth and goals and where I am in my own journey at this point in time. It's not just all about taking here, right? We are trying to give value back to our community, and the community that we're building is very important to us. My goal, one of my personal goals, and one of my objectives for next year is, I want to create 5 millionaires out of the stress-free income community. So there are 5 people that are in our community right now that don't even actually realize that by this time next year, they're going to have earned their first million. And it's going to be such an amazing privilege and honor to have been a part of that journey. So we actually want to create a wealthy mindset in our community. And really, that's my goal. That is my big goal. I'm going to write it down on my vision board. I'm going to put it onto my wall in front of me every day. When I sit in this desk for 8 hours a day working, I want to be staring and looking at that goal. I want to create 5 millionaires out of our community in 2021. That's my objective. And so if you're looking for value, if you're looking for honesty as well, if you value honesty, that's probably a good reason to join our community.
Yep.
Great. Geez, thanks guys. That's great to hear what you guys are planning. It's stress-free income. Sounds like it's going to be going places next year, and I'm glad to be a part of the journey. Just want to thank you guys so much for your time. I think, do you guys have any plugs for your community, for any websites or anything you just want to throw out there?
I'll leave that to David. David, do you want to go take that one, please?
So at the moment, our main avenue or portal is the Telegram group. So that you'll find on the bottom on the YouTube link. obviously joining this, giving the like button and subscribing to this channel. We're going to bring out so much, not just on platforms, so much educational content as well. That's going to be helping you with mindsets, you know. So there's other forays when I managed to get some time that I want to talk about. Hey, this is a good book to read to help you with your mindset, or whatever the case may be. There's going to be so much, not just like, here's a platform, sign up. We don't want to do that. We want to show real value to human beings and bring that to just ground level value. You know, there's a lot of times I see guys who are, you know, talking such high level stuff that they can't really understand it. So we want to bring ground level value and education to the man on the street on that channel. So like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, join the Telegram group. And in the next week or so, we'll have our website up and running. And we're just working out the finer details at the moment. And that's just going to basically lead you to those platforms as well, and give you a little more information to read on. I think that's it here, Wes. We don't want to, there's a Facebook channel, but we really haven't put much on it. It's all on the Telegram channel.
For sure. Thanks for facilitating the chat, Andy. Really enjoyed it. And everybody out there, please take care and God bless.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Take care.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Cool.